Because I'm Asian, being average was always a big no-no. But all jokes aside, I really did grow up with the mindset that being average was a deadly sin. Not that I was average, but against the people that my parents compared me with, I was kind of average. And being average was so scary to me. I genuinely lived in fear. And as this mindset carried on from early years into secondary school, I didn't want to be average either. I wanted to be rich, free, to be able to do whatever I wanted. I was so scared of falling into that average bracket, and I still am. I always worked so hard so I could be as far away from that average bucket as possible. And the opposing view of being afraid of being average is to just live life at your own pace. It doesn't matter what place you come in the race, as long as you're running it, it's fine. But the big difference between being scared of being average and just running the race at your own pace is that for me, I was always running the race so that I was in front of the person behind by a good stretch. So I was always in first, rather than just looking at the finish line. Because sure, you can run while looking at the finish line, but who's to guarantee that you'll come first? The way to come first in a race, whether you like it or not, is to be 2 steps ahead of the person in second place. And people always say run the race at your own pace, but that never made sense to me. Maybe it was the ideology that was burned into my brain from a young age, but if you run the race without looking at others, how would you ever come first? Even the fat guy, he runs towards the finish line. And I guess by running this race, I was running away from the average guy inside my brain, which was just a skinny white guy who scrolls on TikTok all day and plays video games, a C student. And maybe this is racist or something, but honestly, this is the image that I have in my head when I think of someone who's average. And maybe it's different for you, but I think it's going to be something similar. And being this kind of average is not only encouraged, it's kind of something people actively want. And that's how messed up it is. I remember when I was in school in primary and then I finished all my work. Instead of giving me more challenging work and extension to do, I was actively encouraged to just wait and sit there. The school literally encourages you to be average. Being average is seen as cool, and being not average and trying to be better than that is called trying too hard, a nerd, a geek, cringe. And the thing that doesn't make the sense to me the most is that people actively just have their life goals set to be average. I remember I was having this conversation with this person, and maybe you can relate. It's so frustrating when you're talking about your ambitions and then this person just says, I don't know, I'll just get a 9 to 5, go to university, have kids. Because their life goal is just to be average, to be invisible. But I don't know how you can live like that. How can your life goal be to just be average? Because the point of goals is that you set them high so that even if you don't meet them, you've made somewhat of a progress. And the fact that you set your goal to be average means that the best outcome is that you'll be average, but who knows what you'll become. And call me naive, young, I haven't paid taxes yet, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But everything has something they want, whether it's a goal or an ambition. Everyone is motivated and or has a desire to do something sometime in their lives. Or is the average barrier itself divided in between people who take action and don't? And this raises the question, who even set this average bar? It seems uncool to say that you don't want to be average because you just live life being average and then you become an overnight success. Yippee, that's so great. But nobody told these average people that they can just not be average. People just end up feeling complacent once they're average, and this applies to everything. Once you've got to a certain level in something, you feel that's enough. And in Korean there's a saying, it's 적당히만 하면 돼, and that literally means you just have to do a sufficient level and then you're fine with that. And maybe for some people, but if you're watching this video, that isn't enough for you because you've been playing piano for a bit. Oh, you're grade 5 now, you might as well quit. You've done it to some level. Oh, I've been going to the gym for a while, but I've been going for a year now, but it's kind of tough and I don't have the time, so I might as well quit. You put all that time and effort in, and your ultimate goal is to just be average, to do the bare minimum. And this is taking over our lives, and it's so evident. Look around us, look at TikTok. People who do TikTok dances, they're supposed to do it. People my age are supposed to do it, so everyone feels obligated to post on TikTok. They're supplying a demand. I genuinely wonder if people do these things because it's fun for them or just to fit into a trend. And the average that I don't want to be part of is just living for everyone else, and they're riding this wave. And the thing is, this wave seems so fun to ride, right? But there are so many people at the bottom of the wave who are drowning. And social media will inevitably raise the norm. And when people realize that this level cannot be achieved and it's outside their reach, that's the reason for depression. Social media normalizes perfect skin and some special eyelid tilt, and you don't have that. You'll get depressed. Doing something you enjoy and not needing to feel the burden of thinking about what other people will think is something that I really want in my life. Because sure, you can go to university, get a 9 to 5 and retire, but why don't you live life? Because I really genuinely don't understand how you can just be complacent with having sufficient, because life is so wide. But if you're anything like me, these normal jobs don't appeal to you and you want to be free in life, you could only see yourself doing some sort of entrepreneurship or artistic job, and that's great. And of course, I'm not hating on normal job. Our society revolves around them and we need them to progress, but there will always be average people who can supply that demand, and you don't have to be part of that. Maybe no one's ever told you this before. You don't have to go down this pathway that's already been laid out for you before you were born, just because everyone else does. And it's scary, of course. You're taking a different path to everyone else, but this averageness is something that I've lived with my whole life that I'm scared of. And it's the fear of average that drives me more than the motivation of not wanting to be average. You're paid by how easily you're replaceable in this world. You're either going to relate to this or you're not. It's just some Asian kid rambling on about some existential crisis of society. But we're after different things then, because you just want to live an average life. If you act average, you're going to be average.